and my greatest attributes were in the places that I was scared to step into. So I ended up playing the field, and I had some awesome moments that year. And I even scored points, and I was just so shocked. But I left with regrets because I played it safe. I made the decision that I thought was safe. I made the decision that I thought I was good at. And it took almost 4 whole years for me to realize the greatest spot that you were great at was the place that you were scared to play in. Hey, good evening, beautiful believers. So we are here for tip 4 for growing your confidence. And before we get into today's episode, today my baby Elijah, he went to go get his first dental appointment. He had his teeth cleaned. I got mine clean. I'm just really trying to, I don't know if it's the devil or if it's the Lord testing me to endure, but it's just, today's topic has really been my test today of not trying, but doing, and just being confident in your decisions. Because tip 4 for growing your confidence is learn to be confident in your decisions. You have to get comfortable making decisions. And it's just widely acceptable to be indecisive. And it's broadly shared that women are indecisive and a whole bunch of things. And one of the most important lessons as I grow and continue to learn, because I'm learning every day, and don't take these tips as meaning that I've arrived and I've mastered them, because what you think that you've mastered, the Lord is always going to continue to test you on and grow you on continuously. So when you master it at like one level, He's going to test you on the next level and be like, all right, now we're going to test that here. Now we're going to test that there. And you're going to have to continue to keep coming up higher, because if you don't, or if you reach a place to where you think that you've arrived, then you will no longer need God. So all of us are continuously growing. All of us are continuously figuring this thing out, continuously overcoming. So don't take these tips as, oh, I'm going to arrive one day. No, you should get better at them. You should get better at them. You should be maturing in them. And once you master one level in them, you should continue to keep going further. Just because you have mastered it in one area or in one group of people or in one environment don't mean that you're a master at it. You've mastered that specific area. You have to continue to be a student, always be a student, always be learning. And so tip 4 for growing your confidence is get comfortable making decisions. You have to become a decisive person. And that is hard for a lot of us to do. I know it was hard for me to do, and sometimes still. I am pretty good at making big decisions, just like I'm pretty good at handling big situations, big topics, big things like that. But when it comes to the little stuff, I get a little, all crazy and stuff. So the Lord works with me on that continuously. And just trusting Him, just consulting Him. And sometimes I consult the Lord in a way to where I start to overanalyze God's answer or God's response to what I'm asking. And then I get so overwhelmed to where I don't want to do nothing. Like today, I was debating on what content to post, what video to post today. Should I speak today? Should I do my confidence stuff today? Do I need to post something else today? Do I need to recycle content today? Do I just need to release another flashcard? Different things like that. And I asked the Lord right after reading my Bible, and the very thing that I read about today is Joshua. And in the previous chapter, in Joshua 8, I read where he consulted the Lord, and the Lord gave him instructions on his assignment, on what to do. And in that chapter, he had perfect obedience. Like, he went above and beyond. Like, even impaled the man's head on a pole and everything for the Lord to show, like, I'm going to obey you entirely. Just for in the next chapter, for him to forget to consult the Lord. and make a mistake. And I love that moment that I read because in this chapter, it was Joshua chapter 9. Read Joshua chapter 9. The people were intimidated, so his enemies teamed up. They joined together, and they realized that they weren't going to be able to defeat him because the Lord was with him and his army. So they decided to deceive him instead. And that's just crazy. But a lot of people worry about being deceived. But in this chapter, God shows us, if you just consult me, I am your protection against deception. Like, I'm not that cruel to play mind games on you. Satan plays mind games. Satan does like the whole like what ifs, you know, to keep you from like doing something, to keep you stagnant, to keep you, you know, procrastinating, whatever it is that you're struggling with to like overcome. That's usually Satan going rampant in your mind. That's him keeping you anxious. The Lord is not somebody who's going to make you anxious. He literally tells you to be anxious for nothing, but to pray about everything. And with prayer, supplication, and thanksgiving, you know, just ask the Lord. Just speak to the Lord on what you need, what you want, what you desire, what you need clarity about, what you're worried about. You don't have to worry about making the wrong decision, because in Joshua 9, he shows us, if you just consult me, I will protect you against deception, all of those things. I will protect you against making mistakes. And you just got to continue to be in a place of consulting the Lord. And he will not fail you. He will not mislead you. He will not misguide you. So you're going to have to get comfortable making decisions and standing firm on those decisions. And one of the very important things that the Lord, I'm going to actually talk about my marriage on this episode, because this is where the Lord really began to shape me as a confident woman. And it was with my wedding and with preparing to get married, because there was so much warfare behind that, so much noise behind it. Like, it was just so much. Like, people that you think are going to support you are the very people who don't support you. The people who you think have your best interests, you find out what their motives have been over the years and different things, that their motives were more for themselves than for you, and how you trust people and different things. And I experienced so many important decisions needed to be made during this wedding time. And the greatest thing about that was that the Lord never stopped talking to me during that time, and I never stopped talking to him. Every decision that I had to make, I would ask the Lord, even flowers, colors. I'd be like, okay, Lord, what's the colors? You know, I like white and gold, but what else? And, or like I would just tell him, I like white and gold. And I remember he showed me a vision. You need to add some red flowers in there. And then I was like, okay. And then next thing you know, he showed me purple flowers. And I'm like, okay, so our colors are white and gold. And then the floral arrangements are purple, red, and gold and white or whatever. So like, he would show me visions of the decisions that like needed to be made. And when I got stuck somewhere, all I had to do was ask him, and I would sit with him. Like, it was so important for me to be able to slow down during this time, because where everybody else is go, or this got to be done, the Lord was so set on me slowing down when everybody else wanted to pick up. And I know that it probably stressed some of the family out and everything, but I really had to move with the Lord in order to trust the decisions that were going to be made. And before we were even going to have a wedding, when my husband first proposed, I was still carrying our son. It was right before our baby shower and everything. I had already picked my dress shortly after that. And it was the dress that I felt led to. I was like, Lord, you know my colors. I love me some white and I love me some gold. Like, outside of a wedding, them is my things. So I was just like, that's what I'm going to look for. And I go and look for it, and I find my dress months prior. But I saved it, and then I go on, and I was like, well, people are probably going to expect me to do more, or excuse me, what be happening every time I get on here? Because I do not have that problem any other time when I get on, until I get on the videos. But I was like, Lord, people gonna expect me to dress more. They're gonna expect it to be extravagant. This is a once in a lifetime thing. So I gotta have the big fluffy dress. I gotta have the loud dress. I gotta have it and all this. But I had already picked the one that I wanted, that I liked, that I knew that was gonna fit me. And next thing you know, I go in and I start looking at other dresses. And then next thing you know, months as we're getting closer to the wedding, everybody's like, you need to do a bridal fitting or whatever to try on the dresses and different stuff. And I was like, okay, Lord, I don't really want to do that, but I felt like he was pushing me to do it, to have the experience. And I was like, okay, I'm the first one in so many generations on my mother's side of the family to get married. And the whole reason that we're doing a wedding is because for the family, for, you know, to bring unity amongst the family, but also because this wedding is not just for me, it's not just about me, but it's bigger than me, because this is a generational curse that they have been praying to be broken for years. This is a generational curse that like people have been praying about, you know, like just really trying to get this thing to break. So I'm the first one in so many generations to get married. So I can't just go down to the courthouse like I want to do, because this is bigger than me. Even though that this is my day, this means so much to so many people. And I know a lot of people, you know, they'll be like, oh no, this is your day, this is about you. The way that the Lord puts it in my heart and the way that the Lord deals with me, everything is bigger than me. Like, it don't matter how small it is, even sometimes how I feel, even if I don't want to be somewhere or go somewhere, the Lord will let me know when something is bigger than me. And if the Lord tells me that it is bigger than me right now, then that's when I go through and show up. Because I've always, before even knowing my husband, I always said, I'm going to go to the courthouse and get married when I find my husband. And then probably about 5 years later, we're going to build us a dream house. Didn't nobody ask them people that. But in about 5 years after that, we're going to find us some land. We're going to build our dream home. And we're going to have a good country wedding. I'm going to ride in on like a white horse, everything, you know. This was the whole spiel. It's going to be out on our land. It's going to be amongst the trees. It's going to be lights. It's going to be everything. It's just going to be a real southern wedding. I'm going to wear cowgirl boots to my wedding. That was always the dream. That was how I set it up. But when my husband kept bringing up this wedding, I was like, he just want to do this for the people. He just want to do this. And then the Lord had to sit with me and deal with me and let me know. When was the last time you've been to a wedding? Well, I've never been to a wedding. Okay. When has your family experienced a wedding? What about your mama? What about your grandma? You know, what about your granny? What about all of these people who have been making sure that they can be here for this special day? And you gonna go down to the courthouse. And it just really hit me. Okay, this is bigger than you. This is bigger than what you think you want right now. And I am so glad that I followed through with it. And I'm one of those people that unless the Lord begins to show me and begins to line things up for me, I will go my own way. But if the Lord is clearly showing me that his hand is on it, I'm walking with it no matter what comes afterwards. So my husband convinced me to do the wedding. We started wedding planning. We had like 2 months or less to plan a whole wedding that we weren't gonna have at first. And I had this dress picked way before then. And we were gonna do the wedding in May because he wanted to do it a year after he proposed. And I'm like, no, my day gotta mean something. And I started thinking about like the different seasons. And I was like, okay, winter is my favorite season of the year, but I don't want a cold wedding or different stuff like that. So then I was just like, Lord, what other time means a lot to me? And then our anniversary was in August, but I was just like, it's too much stuff happening in August, too many other events in August, or just different things. So then, so then I was praying about it, and I was like, okay, we're gonna do it in March, because every spring, the Lord has been showing me like the beauty of his earth and everything. And like spring has been starting to mean so much more to me. Like it's not just a season. Like people people look at the seasons out in the earth and be like, oh, that's just a season. But I start to pay attention. God springs a whole bunch of stuff up in the springs. A lot of great things happen in the spring. So why wouldn't I want, my wedding in the spring? So I was like, I'm going to do it in the spring. So then that was another decision to be made, to get set on when I wanted it. So then that pushed the wedding up 2 months earlier than what it was originally planned. And then, yeah, we had all that. I feel like I'm on a tangent. But so we got all of that set up. We had to do the wedding planning. And I knew what dress that I wanted. I knew that months prior. And I had just threw it off in my save thing somewhere and had kind of lost it. And then I was like, I'm going to go ahead and go to the dress fitting. I didn't even want to go to that. I was dragging. It was some warfare to even get there, because it was just like, I don't need this. I don't need to do this. Just get it in my flesh. This is about everybody else. But it was just like, this is a time to unify families. This means so much to so many people. And then also, my husband being the oldest on his side of the family, and then I'm being the oldest on my side of the family. Like, this is a big deal. They probably, and then my husband has an amazing testimony. So this seemed impossible for people who were probably waiting on this day. So it was just like, it was a fight each day to push through. But I stayed praying and talking with the Lord. I even fasted, even before we were engaged and everything. I needed to know that my husband was actually going to be my husband. So I did all of my praying and everything, just making sure that, God is in every part of it. So I didn't want to do nothing without the Lord, because I had already did relationships without the Lord. I didn't consult the Lord about people, and it took years of my life. And I know God is a restorer of time, and then people will say, oh, that just whatever. I'm not even gonna get into that. But God is a restorer of time, and I made sure that I walked with the Lord through the entire process, and everything that I began to change from, that where I took other people's advice, if the Lord already showed me the vision or whatever, those are the things that I had to learn were, okay, I know that's right. Or if the Lord had already, in my quiet time, I had already been sure in my mind, that wasn't an area for other people to pour into. My bad, y'all. I had warmed up some chicken wings and some nachos, and that plate was calling my name. It was just sitting right here, and I just couldn't function at all. I'm sorry. I've been eating clean today, and baby, I was starving. I had to go and get it, but ew, that girl is just so cute. These from Sam's Club. These things is busting. Organic fruit snacks. Only problem is that they do not rate good on Yuka. And Yuka tell you if it's healthy and clean ingredients and all of that. I think these were 2 caloric and something else. 2 caloric and too much sugar. I think those were the only cons that Yuka had to say about them. So I went ahead and got them, because it ain't like the kids gonna be eating them all day. But if you're gonna grow your confidence, you really need to get comfortable at making your decisions. I knew the dress that I wanted, and I ended up ordering a completely different dress after I did the dress fitting with everybody else. And when I was talking to my husband, I realized I have always lived my life trying to please everybody else. So even at the dress fitting, I had went to pick out some of the dresses that I wanted to try on, and I didn't realize until like a week or 2 later, I never tried on any of the dresses that I had picked up. And it's no shade to anybody, but it was just like, that's the way that we can get caught up in other people making decisions for us or trying to please other people. We have to make the decisions that are going to be best for us, that are going to be best for our future, that is going to help produce the best fruit inside of us, because only us and God know what's going to be best for us. And my husband kept telling me, it don't matter what I want, it don't matter what they want, you get what you want. And I was just like, yeah, but I want everybody to be happy. I want people, to feel like I considered like their suggestions, all of these different things. And by the end, I don't even want to put a picture of the dress, but I ordered a dress off Amazon that looked like the dress that everybody loved at the dress fitting. And I thought I loved the dress at the dress fitting too, until I went back and looked at the pictures. And there was multiple dresses that I tried on, but the one that I thought I absolutely loved when I was in, I realized how crazy them pictures looked to me. And I was like, I was comfortable right here, and I thought I was happy. And then I looked at another dress that I tried on, and I was like, this dress, I thought I was uncomfortable. I thought I looked weird. But in this dress, I shine the best. Like, my spirit shines the best. Like, that fits me. And I was just like, I was so caught up in picking something for my comfort that the very dress that I was hesitant about trying on, or the dress that was going to be more like the dress that I had originally picked, that I shrunk into ordering a dress off Amazon that fit like the dress that was to my comfort. And it was absolutely awful. Like, I felt like the dress didn't look exactly like the one at the fitting, but when it came to me, it looked like a granny's bridal dress. And baby, my husband, he wasn't supposed to see the dress, and he accidentally saw a glimpse of it. And he was like, baby, you looked beautiful. I wasn't supposed to see it, but I seen it. You look beautiful. I said, baby, there's no way that you accidentally see me in that dress and you said that looked beautiful. So before I got ready to send it back, I was like, no, you gonna see what you keep telling me is beautiful. And I put on that dress, and my husband, he tried to hold it together, but he just busted out laughing. We was both laughing because it was awful. I picked the dress based on my comfort, not the one, because I thought that my comfort made me confident. But even going back to when I played sports in school, I spent my entire high school year playing sports and choosing positions that I knew that I would already be good at. But the crazy thing is that senior year, my pinky ended up fractured, and I could no longer be in the goalie box. I spent all high school playing these sports, and the very positions that I was afraid of playing, I had to play once I fractured my pinky, because how a goalie gonna be in the box and can't catch? So I ended up playing the field and find out that I was so much better on the field. And I left senior year. I actually ended up in the game pictures on the field senior year, everything. And I had never ended up in the pictures except for when it was like a full team picture. But the very place that I was scared to step and play and show up at was the place that I was actually greatest at. And I spent my entire high school playing sports for the comfort, playing what I thought was safe, playing where I didn't have to stretch or grow, and my greatest attributes were in the places that I was scared to step into. So I ended up playing the field, and I had some awesome moments that year, and I even scored points, and I was just so shocked. But I left with regrets because I played it safe. I made the decision that I thought was safe. I made the decision that I thought I was good at. And it took almost 4 whole years for me to realize the greatest spot that you were great at was the place that you were scared to play in. Same thing with my dress, because I relived that moment over with my husband, and I always tell him I spent all those years in a box, and I was so much better on the field. And so that's how this comfort to confidence was actually birthed, because me and my husband were actually taking a bath, and I was like, it's crazy that where I'm comfortable at is not where I shine like the brightest at. I shine the brightest where I'm most uncomfortable. That's where it actually fits me. The place where I think it doesn't fit me. And that was the same thing with my dress. So I ended up having to spend excess money getting a dress that was going to fit my comfort, but turned out not to be beautiful, not to be nothing that I dreamed, none of that. Just to eventually go back to the dress that I had originally picked before the fitting, everything. And in that moment, I realized a lot of the times when I've made decisions, my first decision has been right. It's the decisions that I try to think out and that I try to intellectualize. And I don't say it as, oh, I just make perfect decisions. I feel like for me, the first decision that comes up for me, I don't know how everybody else's mind works, but I come from such an intellectual family, a family that likes to try to like intellectualize everything, that tries to understand everything, that tries to, they're smart, and we're all smart, but sometimes we could be too smart for our like own good, and we actually do more harm than good. And I think because that's who we are, that's the way that we are, when God deals with me, the first thing that I hear is usually God, and that's for me. And anything else after that I've sat with and try to intellectualize, and I've tried to go over all of the safe routes, all of how it can go wrong, and I try to intellectualize my way around and try to get to an answer. Anything else after that, I end up having to go back to the first thing that I heard. Because the first one was without my own craftiness, without my own understanding, and it was unbiased. And it was probably uncomfortable, but it was the one that was right. Even in business, I will be talking to somebody and the Lord will already put the price in my spirit. And I'll tell them, you know what? I'm going to get back to you with the numbers. And I already know what the price is, but I want to sit with it hoping that it's going to change because I would fear being rejected or whatever. But the Lord had to get me comfortable with that rejection, because through me adjusting prices or different things for like other people's comfort, it always left me feeling empty. It always left me feeling taken advantage of. It always left me feeling drained. And then sometimes it even changed the way that my relationship was with the client, because I did something to like please you and now I'm empty. So, that kind of forms like a resentment, even if you don't try to, because it's like, oh, I did this good thing, but it was because I thought more of you than I thought of myself. And the Bible tells us to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. So that means that you have to learn to love yourself before you can love your neighbor. Because if you don't love yourself, you're going to give them a perverted form of love. You're not going to give them a full and righteous love, because when you are full and you fill your cup first, it is so much easier to pour that into somebody else and they get the overflow of what is already in you. But if your cup is empty and depleted, how can you love them as you love yourself? If you don't take care of yourself, how can you truly take care of your neighbor? You may be able to do it, but then you're going to feel bitter, because you're going to be like, oh, I did this for everybody. I do this for everybody, and nobody checks on me. Nobody looks after me. Yeah, because you have to fill your own cup first. And that was something that I had to learn. So that was just a interpretation that I got by that scripture, because I always thought that like self-love, self-care was selfish and that those people were selfish, but it was because I always had like a poor example of it. Not saying like in like parents or anything, because my parents are very selfless people. My dad, my mom, like those two people, even my bonus mom, my dad's wife, all selfless people. Like they serve until they got nothing left. But I had to learn that it's great to be a servant, but a servant also needs to be filled, because I know that didn't, but a servant also needs to be filled. Like even Jesus, when he was going out and doing all the miracles and all the things, he had to be refilled constantly. He had to withdraw constantly, because without that, if his cup isn't full, how can he pour out anything? So that was something that I had to learn. But the biggest area of my life where the Lord has dealt with me on making decisions and birthing this more confident woman to make decisions, to withdraw, to go forward, to, just be more comfortable with my decisions, was my wedding. Because I had to really slow down, talk and walk with him, listen to him. I'm just looking at this picture of my husband because he's so fine. He's so fine. But I really had to talk and walk with him and let him show me the vision for the wedding. And anything that wasn't my area of expertise, the Lord would let me know, okay, so-and-so needs to be over this, so-and-so needs to do this, so-and-so need to work together. And the Lord was able to heal people, heal bonds, all because I made decisions that didn't make sense, but because they weren't my own decisions. I was consulting God in everything. I was consulting the Lord in everything. And that's why it's important to go read Joshua 8 and Joshua 9, because you see the difference between where there was great victory because he was unwavering in obedience. And he's new to this. He's new to this in these chapters. So he's on fire. He's new blood. He's ready to serve the Lord. So he gets it perfect. Chapter 8. And then chapter 9, he's on that high of doing good, having a great victory, and just in excitement forgets to consult the Lord concerning these people and makes covenant with an enemy. But he don't stay there. So even if you mess up in being more confident in your decisions, even if you, cut some things that you were supposed to keep, even if you probably walk ahead of the Lord or whatever and go into doors that he probably wasn't ready for them to be open for you, and you go ahead of him, or even if you've been in the wrong relationship because you didn't consult the Lord, or you probably have consulted the Lord but you're scared of what the Lord might say, so you're holding on tight with how you're consulting him. Even if you went through all of that, because I've been there and I get it and I completely understand, there's no judgment. But all Joshua did was he didn't wait on God to punish him. He just corrected it. He didn't wait on the Lord to correct him because he already knew he was wrong. He corrected it right away. So you can be confident in your decisions. Consult the Lord. He is your protection against deception. You can't be deceived if you're consulting the Lord. If you're truly consulting the Lord, I'm not saying consult the Lord and then have your idea of what you want the Lord to say, or consulting the Lord through other people, unless the Lord sends you. And you need to be very careful about that, because if we think a certain way of a person or we view a person a certain way, we will automatically assume that it's the Lord sending us, but it's our familiarity. Y'all know the word. It'll be that sending us more than it is the Lord. So I challenge you to, if you ever get overwhelmed, don't make decisions in a haste, in a hurry, because what I'm learning is that God slows down. That's why he says be anxious for nothing, but pray about everything. God takes his time. But I realize the enemy is in a rush for us to make a decision that we can mess up, that we could be deceived, that we can easily fall, that we can end up in wrong covenants. I took my time with my husband. My husband took his time with me. I just can't stop looking at him. Let me put this picture down so I can pay attention. But my husband took his time with me. We fasted together. Like, even though the Lord was showing me the fruit of that, this was good. When I first met my husband and my husband first met me, and then we got to know each other more. In the beginning, it always feels good. But as we got to know each other more, it was the Lord's peace keeping us together, because sometimes the stuff that we seen and felt didn't feel like God had it right. But the fact that we had fasted and prayed, and we were going to church and praying together, studying together, and just the way that the Lord would keep showing up even in the discomfort, even through our separation, because we separated before we got married, because I wanted to make sure that this was really God's best for me. And I believe that separation was necessary in order to get us here, because I believe both of us were immature in a lot of ways, and that separation showed us like the importance of covenant with God and covenant with each other. because we got to see different sides of ourselves, our families, everything. And where we were leaning on people like the wrong way and people were leaning on us the wrong way. And if we didn't have that season, it wouldn't have given us such a strong start in marriage. So don't be in a rush, because anything that God is sending, it don't feel rushed. And if you start to get anxious about the things that the Lord is sending, just slow down, pray. You can be confident in your decisions as long as you consult the Lord. But it's the decisions that you make without Him that mess you up. You can always repent. So that's it. That's the message. That's the word. I love you. And I pray that you have a blessed many days, and may the peace and the blessings of the Lord be multiplied unto you greatly. Because on them videos, I said, please, sir, whatever. I don't know what the heck was going on. I guess I'll be trying to talk too fast sometimes, or talk slow fast, or fast slow. I don't know. But I love you. Y'all have a blessed many days. Bye.
Oh.